Yeah. I got that. And when I got that when I was watching the Transformers movie and watching Tyrese Gibson's character and the other brother that spoke Spanish and they're all English. He's like, "You're taking away my heritage, my culture." And he's like, "Okay." And I forget the brother's name. Let's call him Fergie's husband. Fergie's boy. They were married. Are they still married? I don't know. I don't check into people's personal life. I am not the Globe magazine of it. That's the reason why I have good telekinesis and good observation analysis and good connectivity to people is because I don't delve into people's personal life. He has bad information because I don't. I look for stuff that's essential to the planet, life, and the living and have intelligent conversations that are pertinent to help establishing peace and regard of life on the planet. So when people have similar molecular and relative structure that works and gels good with me, I communicate with them real well, and we have strong telekinesis together, and we really hang out, and we're kind of cool, and it's fun, and we make up stupid songs using the Schoolhouse Rock. Yeah, I was thinking about him earlier. Ah, no, I love my dog. He's fun. Yeah, he's a good guy. And other people too. Yeah, there's a lot of. I almost forgot about Alvin. How could I forget about? I don't know. And people have to sell records sometimes to get out a better message. And it's when you're dealing with the irrational, sometimes you have to behave irrationally, to help stop the irrational. But guys, yeah, you guys can digitally transfer and own, and yeah, and they need to build better computers that last, and so we can share and work with information. Not all technology is a bad thing, but we're going to scale it down, and it's going to work in a more longevity and organic fashion, or we're going to have to get rid of it. It's going to become detrimental. You're addicted to your pretty much as time goes by in 1,000 years, it'll probably be most of it. This stuff will be non-essential. You'll have good forms of communication through forms of telekinesis. We don't believe in telekinesis. That's why you're not real good at it. Sorry. I'm sorry. I'm not being mean. I'm not being mean. No. Me and that brother knew. He came to talk to me. He did look a lot like Pitbull. He did, but he's not Pitbull, but he is what people would call a gay man, a homosexual. He was beautiful. He was amazing. He was intelligent. And he's like, I knew you wanted to talk to me. And he took out his phone and goes, if you need these rudimentary forms of communication, they can sometimes function well. And he goes, but we don't. Yeah, and we were talking, and we had a conversation about the things that we wanted to talk about. And it was really cool. Yeah, he already knew I was interested in talking to him, and he came and addressed me. Not a lot of people do. A lot of people come in there wanting me to talk to him, and I go address them. He was the one that has, yeah, and it was usually typically the ones that did were women that wanted to help me out, which was very sweet. My goodness. And unfortunately, I was not able to take them up on it, even though I would have really liked to. Yeah. Well, and they are angels, and I would have been making love to an angel, but it would have been to just get me through. And I want to make love to my. I said I was gonna when I make love again, it's gonna be to an angel, but I want it to be the one that's gonna be my wife for the rest of my life. Oh, shut up, you guys. Oh, Ralphie, that's so sweet and special. Yeah, I guess it is kind of sweet and special. I guess I'm kind of a sweet and special little geek. So you two cops, y'all need to stop calling me a geek. I'm not a geek. I'm not a complete geek. Okay, you guys are, man. I don't like you people, man. So when I get in shape and work out, then I'm going to be less of a geek. I don't understand this. That's profiling, man. That you guys are stereotyping me. That was that whole stuff of calling me a savant and an Asperger's and a this and a that. And so, what does that make you? Sometimes it's always. Nah, I've lived yeah, and I've done it really well, and I've functioned real well within your parameters. And so, yeah, but you go off on when they're completely stupid. Yeah, I do. You can't control yourself. Obviously, I can because I get to a point where it's like I hit my apex. When it gets just like, oh my, did you see how stupid that was? And then you point it out, and then you make people violently angry because they're abusive and they're controlling and they have psychopathic tendencies. And I pointed out to them, oh gosh, darn, David, don't stop Goliath from coming and eunuching and raping everybody. No, just let him do it. You've got bad You've got social issues. We're going to get in trouble with the Philistines if we don't let them come in and eunuch and rape. Good God. No, I think I'm going to stand up on this one and stop them. I had a dream and a vision that I could do it, and he does it. Yeah, old Saul, I'm going to get rid of two problems. Yeah, I'm going to get rid of David, who is my biggest threat, and I'm going to appease Goliath and tell him, yeah, this one was our biggest threat. He was one of the, yeah, and I gave him out to you as a sacrificial thing. See, because you not take my girls, but take all the girls from his family because he wanted to try to kill you. It was a stroke of genius on Saul's part. Yeah. He'll take all the women from Saul's house, from David's house, and get them out of my hair. Eunuch all the people in his family because he was the one that stood up to him. And I don't lose any of my girls or any of my boys to Goliath. It's a perfect, he thought it out real, yeah, intelligently, yeah. Old Saul had everything covered until David won. It was like, holy crud, what do I do now? Now David's the rising star. He thought he was going to get rid of David and not have to give up any concubines and eunuchs from his house because they'd all come from David's because David was the one that was bold enough to challenge him. Jesse's house. All of Jesse's all of Jesse's sons would have been eunuched, and all the girls from that line would have been taken as concubines. Yeah. And they're pretty hot. Yeah. Oh yeah, they are. My sister's pretty. She looks a lot like a cross between Farrah Fawcett and Maria Shriver. And have you seen Melissa Nail? She's a beautiful girl. Yeah, they wouldn't have any problems. Oh, we'll take these. Oh yeah, they'll do. I will. My sister Val's quite pretty, and you saw the sisters I posted. The one I showed you of my mom and my sister Patrice and my sister, you know, when they're young, and my sister Valerie. So, oh, they'd been fine with that. Oh, this will make a fine batch of concubines here. We'll take all the kids from Jesse's and current lines and David's line and his mother's line. Sounds like a plan. Moses' girl. The hot girls like Moses, so hot girls go through that family. So yeah, it would have been totally acceptable. Saul would have killed two birds with one stone. Got rid of David and appeased Goliath and got him out of you. This is where you dip your tail out of this line. These are the people that are hell-bent on defying you, and they're my rebel rousers. So just, you know, eunuch all of them and screw all their girls. Okay, that's acceptable. That's what was going on. You guys get the general dynamic of things now? And Davy stopped it. So I'm not Asperger's or savant when I get up to stop this kind of abuse. Understood? Stop labeling me and calling me names. I don't like it. I love you guys, man. You could be a big, bad soldier who's really good and stuff like that and fighting for the right and stuff like that, but you're fighting for the wrong side. You can be manipulated by people like Saul and Goliath. The people were excited when David won because David was a good guy. David didn't want anybody's sons to get eunuched and anybody's girls to take as concubines. That's the whole thing with Samuel and when you study David, and that is why David goes after David and Solomon try to stop the heavy concubinages, but everybody brings the girls as tribute to them. That's why they had so many wives. We want you to have kids with our daughters so we get a son like you. And then they all fight. My son should be in charge. My son should be in charge. Mine's the best. Mine's the best. Mine's the most like you, David. Mine's the most. It can't be Solomon. Why? He came out of that whore Bathsheba. Do you get it? It's basic. It's real simple. Just read the Gospels. Bob Marley and Haile Selassie explained it to me. Yeah. Well, because they're intelligent, and they're related, and they are part of the family connections that understand what was going on. That's why me and Sedalia Marley have such beautiful conversations, and it's hard to have them. And other people, I don't want to talk to him. He makes me mad. And no, here's what was going on. We were being manipulated by people that wanted to divide us instead of unite us. And David and his sons were always trying to keep it united, but there was always Lauryn Hill describes it perfectly in her song, Forgive Them, Father, for they know not what they do. And then her song also, Tell Them, that she wrote too. She has very strong connections to that family line and spiritually connects real well. And I've spiritually adored her for millennia. So I've always had a soft spot when people talk stuff about Lauryn Hill. I get kind of defensive. She's prejudiced. She's that I adore her. Yeah, no, I love her. I just, you know, I really love Lauryn Hill, and I really do. And but you're white. She doesn't love you. She loves me. I'm like Papa Dave. She loves King David, and she loves Jesus. And she does. In that song, it's, that nothing compares to when our lives were spared. She loves Jesus of Nazareth, and I'm a lot like our uncles down that side of the line. And Haile Selassie taught us that color has nothing to do with it, that it's the proper heart and the proper character. Like Martin Luther King taught her, we should judge people by the content of their character, not the color of their skin. So she was angry, and Bob was angry a lot of times with people that are oppressed, but it didn't mean that he didn't like white people. He loves white people. He just doesn't like people that are elitist, racist, and oppressive. I loved Bob Marley when I first started listening to him, and I love his children. And there is some sexualization because of the way people have been treated so poorly. People want Africa to unite because they don't want them to be segregated, splintered, and then objectified and manipulated by people that would come in, manipulate their country, and destroy their environment through fracking and using different kinds of their natural resources that destroy the environment and make the children sick. It's very intelligent to want Africa to unite so this kind of exploitation and destruction to our environment and to the people there can stop. Those people in Somalia were just resupplying death and decay to the oil system so they could keep the ecosystem balanced and continue their oil thing. They're lying to you about the oil thing. They're just trying to stop you from taking it out so they can promote different agendas because they realize their agenda is causing global warming, which is going to have drastic effects which will affect them physically in their opulent lifestyle, and they don't like that. So they want to stop what they've been doing without telling you the truth about it. Understood? And then they can consider the status quo, and the status quo doesn't work because manipulated and lying relationships don't work real well. You have to have trust-filled, character-filled relationships. You can't have a relationship with a deceiver that's a manipulator and a liar and an abuser. It's just not, they don't work real well at all. They lead to global warming, mass genocides, destruction of self-existence and planets, extortion to live on the planet. They lead to a lot of psychopathic, self-destructive, irrational behavior that we talked about earlier. Understood? Are you guys following along with this? And am I going to quit being called crazy and asked if I need sedation? And if you think you're special, I think I've kind of proven that I'm kind of special. I'm kind of talented. I didn't mean to do it, but I did because I asked. Okay. The Israelite is the one that barters with God for the other children to help save the other children from their irrationality and their selves. So yeah, I'm the spirit of the one they call the Israelite. So I guess in that sense, historically, I'm a significant being. Not just in a physical sense, but also in what they would recall is a molecular, relatively connected, and what they would refer to as a spiritual being. So spiritually, if you look at things in a spiritual sense without corrupting the word, spiritually I'm a significant being with talents that can help restore balance of life on the planet. Wow. Gee, Pat, Isaac, you guys, no pressure there, huh, guys? Sorry, Isaac, but hey, you win by default. You asked. It says in the Holy Quran that the rest of the family would bow to the idol worship, and only Abraham would not bow in his family. And it's described perfectly in the Quran, and that's what you do. You're doing it because you have the one eye blind that talked about that. The part of you, your heart and your mind, see the truth in what your uncle teaches because he is most like Jesus. But you have to be one eye blind to him because they will take away everything you hold dear in your family, which is intelligent and loving. And why would you abandon all of them to follow one who's outcast and put aside? I'll do it for you. You've done it for me. I'll do it for you. You're my songbird. I'll sing for you. And I will sing the way. And I will lead the way so you can be who you are again without being outcast and losing your relationship with your mother, your father, your bride, and their family. I won't let that happen to you. I adore you too much. So the battle with the one-eyed man is yourself, but I won't let them do that to you, which is why you love Jesus so greatly. Yes, your uncle loves you because you love him. That song, Songbird, by Barbra Streisand, that was Muhammad for Jesus' spirit, to get him off that sacrificial cross and no longer let him be the pagan idol worship deification of a man, which is an abomination and goes against the Ten Commandments. How could I have to. And I keep telling Gabe that too. I'm trying to lead the way. You guys said you'd lead the way, but you stay in the cave with them and watch my suffering, but I asked you to. And so we'll stay here. So if it goes in a bad way, we'll stay here. If it goes in a good way, we'll stay here. I am still praying for the best, most loving outcome, as of all you are too, because you understand Jesus and you pray to Jesus and you're connecting to the spirit of me. Understood? I pray connect a lot to Muhammad and to Amos and to Hassan and Hussein and Ali and yeah. So we get along. That's why me and Jordan get along so well. We've had arguments, man. When we first started this stuff, Ali got into it with me on that when I was walking up and down the laterals, you know. Why do you do this? Blah, 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 blah. And then I explained it to him, and then Muhammad's kind of like, dude, yeah, dude, it's Jesus. It's Moses. It's David. He doesn't exactly quote know what he's doing, but God is working through him, so it's working quite well. He doesn't claim to know anything, for all is God's, and this all is Jehovah's, and Jehovah and Allah are the same. So anyone who argues over the nature of the word Jehovah, Jah, or Allah is a fool. For there is no God but God, and God does not beget, and God is not begotten. God always is, always has been, and always will be. God will be our source of life, regardless of our arguments and stupidity and futility of ignorance. Allah is Jehovah, is Jah, is one. For you can have many names for the same one, but the one cannot be changed from the one because of a name given by a tribe. Jehovah is Jehovah and always will be. Allah is Allah and always will be. Jah is Jah and always will be. There is no beginning and there is no end, so it is the infinite, it is the eternal, as described in the Holy Quran. Understood? Okay, guys. They're math proofing, an infinite math proof. It's The Wager by Pascal, who is a close line genetic similitude that we know and people have traced through the signals that go through my family line. And that's what Jenny was getting back to. Okay, Moses is a little bit taller. That's why in different kind of genetic things through the family line. So Buddy Holly was naturally attracted to women of color and ethnicity, because even though they're quite light, he's tall and he's got bigger hands and he's a little bit more. Yeah, they're genetically predisposed because they have. If he would have bred with a white woman, they might have had a kid come out a little maybe dark, 1 in 4 chance, because they have very strong genetic connections to people of color. Yeah, so Buddy Holly, yeah, and his tendency to be a little bit taller because of his genetic lines through the Kramer side and through the other sides that are genetically hooked up with certain things, like through his dad's side. His dad's side would have had close line connections to the line of King Solomon, which is African people. So yeah, it's like Professor Hamlet used to say, you know, they always put in cream in the coffee, but every once in a while we put a little coffee in the cream. All right, so just so you know. I heard about that once in a story up in Minnesota too. There was a town of a bunch of Norwegian type people, and they had a mailman that was actually of color. They had a baby that came out of color. The man denounced the wife, said she was screwing the mailman. They did a DNA test on the child. The child was the biological child of the white father, who was like more largely of Norwegian type descent, but somewhere back in the line he had some African in him, so the genes came from his gene pool. So he accused the wife of screwing around, and as it turned out, the darkness in the child came from his gene pool, not the mailman's. He was the mailman, and he delivered. And then he lost his marriage because he doubted his faithful spouse. And all that black came from somewhere else besides me. We've got a DNA quandary for you. We're all related, and those dark genes came from your gene pool. It's kind of humbling when that kind of stuff happens, and sometimes it can, you know. With me, no, I'm not being mean about the thing is because it's basically we allegedly conceived in February and the child was born in September, and she was and it's consistent with her patterns of behavior and the whole 9 yards. I'm not dissing my wife or denying my all my children are my children, regardless of the circumstances of the conception and what Amy did. I love Kate Addison Parsons as much as I love Patrick Earl. Claim her, adore her, and in some ways, me and Patrick are both like, oh, come on, Dad, you love Katie Moore. I don't love Katie Moore, but she's cute, and Dad's like, I know. Patrick does, because I love Katie Moore. I love Emily Moore, and I love Noah Moore, and I love Natalie Moore, because he loves them more than he loves himself, and he's my son, and that's why I love my son so much, but that's also why I love them so much, because he's a lot of It's a beautiful spiritual connection between Ralph Earl Parsons Jr. and Patrick Earl Parsons. The nobleman, Lord, lay preacher is a special guy. He's a special kid, man. I love my son. He's angry. He gets angry. He gets a lot like his pops. We're connecting together, and we get angry because people are trying to destroy their species and their planet, and we have to sit and watch it while we're censored and marginalized and are treated like we're treated horridly by people that consider themselves more intelligent than us, and we're trying to intelligently help them, and we get treated horridly. And it's beneath these people at Oxford and the Ivy League and stuff like that to treat us as such. If Jesus came among them today, would they treat him like this, or would they sit down and have an intelligent, logical, respectful dialogue with him? And it pretty much is holding the character that they would try to shut him up and sell their stuff. I wish they'd quit, because I adore them, and I think they have a lot to offer, and I think there's a lot of intelligence in a lot of those people. I told you I enjoy Penn and Teller, and I still do in a lot of ways, and I enjoy a lot of these people, and I'm trying to enjoy Sam Harris and a lot of these other guys and stuff too, and the Miko guy and all that stuff. But you're bought into some stuff you don't understand. That I can be manipulated. If I can be manipulated, so can you. That's not me saying I'm better than you. It's just basically, it's kind of like it's just trying to prove you with the analysis abilities that I have. You see what I'm saying? All right. It's just a humbling of myself so you can humble yourself as well. I'm going to go load these up and put out a hope for a brighter mañana, okay? I love you guys. All right, man. Let's call this one a day, and I'm going to go home, and I hope y'all have a good day, too. I adore you, all right? Blessings and peace.